What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Nacho Wrestling, and in today's video we are taking a look at the best finisher in professional wrestling, past and present. And of course, like all things in wrestling, this is subjective, so if you don't agree with what I pick as the best overall finisher, please sound off in the comments on what your favorite finisher of all time is. But before we get into this bracket, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to stay up to date on all things Nacho Wrestling, and if this is your first time watching a Nacho Wrestling video, why don't you consider hitting the subscribe button and sharing this video with your friends. The first round, of course, is, as you can see, pretty difficult to decide. The One-Winged Angel versus the Styles Clash. Two iconic finishers for AEW and WWE. Two finishers that you don't see a lot of people kick out of these days. Usually when you see this move hit, it's the end of the match. I would have to deduct some points from the Styles Clash because Vince McMahon did sort of take it away from AJ Styles for like the first couple of months he was on WWE programming and forced him to use the Phenomenal Forearm as his main finisher. But that's not really AJ's fault. That's more of a WWE creative and booking and safety and practices situation. That being said, I'm still going to have to give it to the One-Winged Angel because as far as I remember, only like one person has ever kicked out of it. Another big one up next, we have the Kinshasa or Bomb whatever you know it as, against the GTS. Now, I know a lot of people love the GTS, they think it's awesome, and they think it's one of Punk's best moves and most iconic moves. Too bad he stole it from Kenta. Give me the Bomb/Kinshasa. The Gore versus the Razor's Edge. Now, on one hand, the Gore is just a spear. On another, it's different because it's coming from Rhino, and he's got a lot of force behind it, more so than like a Jey Uso spear. But the Razor's Edge is iconic. Even when Sheamus tried to use a variant of it as his finisher for a while, they realized that they could not get away with just doing Scott Hall's move, so they switched it to the Brogue Kick. I'm going to have to give the edge here to Razor's Edge, no pun intended. Next up, we have the Buckshot Lariat versus the Rock Bottom. I'm not sure who did the Rock Bottom/Bookend first, but they're the same move. So if the Bookend's on here, I'm going to take that one because I like Booker's version of it more. It just seems less theatric and more impactful. The Buckshot Lariat by no means is a perfect finisher. Sometimes it does look a bit manufactured, a little too manufactured, if you will. But for Hangman, it really works as a good finisher. It works as like his end-all, be-all, his break glass in case of emergencies. He'll try to use the Deadeye nowadays, but that really doesn't get the job done as much as you think it would. All that being said, I'm going to have to give this one to the Buckshot Lariat. Next up, we have the Big Bang Catastrophe versus Booker T's Scissor Kick. Now, I'm a little confused here. I think they gave the Rock Bottom and then kind of just shoehorned something else in for Booker T. So I'm a little annoyed with this, but, you know, it's not my list, so I can't get mad. That being said, back in the day, like prime Keith Lee in NXT in like 2017, 2018 was hitting this move like butter. For that, I'm going to have to give it to the Big Bang Catastrophe. Next up, we have JBL's Clothesline from Hell versus whatever the fuck Byron Saxton's doing in this picture. I'm not quite sure what it is, so I'm not even going to bother trying to figure out what his finisher is. Give me the Clothesline from Hell. The 619 versus the Big Ending. This is another easy one. The 619 is iconic. Not only do you hear the 619 area code come up in rap songs and then immediately followed by Rey Mysterio, but it's also followed up with a beautiful combo move in the West Coast Pop, which I feel like some people forget is kind of two finishers rolled into one. Sting's Scorpion Death Drop versus Randy Orton's Punt. Again, is the punt a finisher? Because I feel like he only ever did it in angles, during promos, or when he did it, he got disqualified. So is it a finisher? Again, subjective, you know, comes back to that point that I said earlier, so maybe it is, maybe it isn't, depending on how you look at it. But for me personally, I'm going to give it to the Scorpion Death Drop. I love that move. It's iconic with Sting. Whenever somebody else does it, like especially Darby, it's a big fucking deal. So yeah, give me the Scorpion Death Drop. Okay, next up, this is not a finisher. I don't know what this list is technically. I clicked on a list that was best finishers in wrestling, and I have Jeff Hardy's signature sitting in front of me, so that's a little difficult. But the Twist of Fate is iconic. It was more used as a finisher by Matt Hardy than Jeff Hardy. Usually Jeff did it as a follow-up or a follow-through to the Swanton Bomb. Meanwhile, Pete Dunne with his bitter end, he was hitting that shit back in the day, just like Keith Lee with the Big Bang Catastrophe. It was smooth like butter. Give me the bitter end. Claudio Castagnoli / Cesaro's Gotch Neutralizer or Gotch Pile Driver versus Angel Garza's Wing Clipper. Okay, controversial take, maybe not, but I really don't like Angel's finisher. It seems like it would also hurt him a lot, just as much as it hurts the wrestler. I also feel like Claudio's finisher or Cesaro's finisher, whatever you want to call him, definitely works for him, but he also has so many different moves that he can do during a match that can act as a finish. That being said, I'm going to give the edge here to Claudio Castagnoli. The People's Elbow versus, I think Austin Theory used to call it ataxia? Something like that? I'm not 100% sure. Austin Theory's had a lot of different finishers in his WWE days. The Rock Bottom was created to just pop the boys. Not Rock Bottom, sorry, the People's Elbow was just created to pop the boys. But I mean, it kind of became funny over time, so much so that John Cena does his own version in the 5-Knuckle Shuffle. So give me the People's Elbow here. Chris Jericho's Judas Effect versus Kevin Nash's Powerbomb. I really like the Judas Effect. I think Andrade did it a lot better than Chris Jericho ever did, but that's neither here nor there. I thought it was a fresh pace of change for Chris Jericho to use something different that wasn't the Lion Salt, wasn't the Lion Tamer, wasn't the Walls of Jericho or anything like that. It was something different, something new, something impactful. But the same thing could be said about Kevin Nash's Powerbomb. I love the Jackknife Powerbomb, just as much as I love the Last Ride Powerbomb. When a tall guy like Kevin Nash or Undertaker does a Powerbomb, you almost have to give it some sort of adjective name in front of it because it's more than just a regular powerbomb. It's like 10 extra feet in the air. So with that, give me the Jackknife Powerbomb by Kevin Nash. Next up, we have Trevor Lee / Cameron Grimes and his To the Moon double stomp versus Batista and his Batista Bomb. Now this one is a little unfair because obviously the Batista Bomb is iconic. Batista hitting it with the sit-out style became something that a lot of people started to do. Obviously, people were doing it before him, but he was just so smooth and so elegant with it, especially for a guy of his stature. So for that, give me the Batista Bomb. The Busaiku knee from Daniel Bryan / Bryan Danielson versus Goldberg's jackhammer. And I promise there is no bias here. Give me the Busaiku knee. Fuck Goldberg. Jake the Snake's DDT versus Kofi Kingston's Trouble in Paradise. Now back in the day, Jake the Snake had one of the best DDTs in the game, but now that it's used as a transition move, it's lost a lot of luster and a lot of impact. But still, it was Jake the Snake's DDT. He was the only guy using it as a finisher at the time. When it can be used as an impactful move, it really does work. So go ahead and give me Jake the Snake's DDT. Luke Harper / Brody Lee with his discus clothesline versus the Tombstone Pile Driver. I love Luke Harper, and I miss Luke Harper / Brody Lee so much. His discus clothesline and his setup for it with the mustache twirl and the yeah was great. But the Tombstone Pile Driver is iconic as it gets. I mean, Undertaker was using it for so long that Vince McMahon, after banning pile drivers, said, "No, Mark, you could still do the Tombstone Pile Driver." Which, I mean, how many guys got to do a pile driver during the banned era of it? Not a lot. For that reason alone, I'm gonna have to go with the Tombstone Pile Driver. It dodged a ban. Not many moves get to dodge a ban. Next up, we're still on the same side of the bracket. We have the One-Winged Angel versus the Bombier / Kinshasa. I really think that this is difficult. I like the way Shinsuke used to hit the move. I feel like nowadays, especially whenever he does show up on TV, he's not really getting to hit it that much. So we haven't seen it as often as we should. And the same thing still stands for everything I said about the One-Winged Angel. There's like one person, two people that have ever kicked out of it that I can think of. And even then, I'm not even sure if it was both of them that kicked out of it. It may have just been one of them. Next up, we have the Razor's Edge versus the Buckshot Lariat. Both iconic, both used by one guy and then copied by several other guys. Yes, I understand that the Buckshot Lariat was not invented by Hangman Page, and actually Elix Skipper used it back in TNA, but you know, he made the move famous, and then Logan Paul watched a couple of Hangman matches and stole it. So, you know, sort of like the GTS was made by Kenta, but popularized by CM Punk. Almost the exact same thing. So by that logic and the fact that I had to kick CM Punk out in the first round, I'm going to have to kick Hangman out here because the Razor's Edge was, as far as I'm aware, like made for Razor Ramon to use and everything like that. So yeah, give me the Razor's Edge. The Clothesline from Hell versus the Big Bang Catastrophe. Both moves have genuine force behind it. When you see Keith Lee pick that guy up into a jackhammer position and then tilt-a-whirl with him into a slam, it is chef's kiss. Love it every time, especially when he hits it on a bigger guy like those Dijak matches. Same thing could be said about the Clothesline from Hell with JBL. I mean, when he hits it on a small guy, a little guy, a big guy, doesn't matter. He put some fucking mustard on that. Still though, I think you guys know how much I love Keith Lee, so give me Keith Lee and the Big Bang Catastrophe here. We have the 619 by Rey Mysterio and the Scorpion Death Drop by Sting, both made famous by the guys, just like the Razor's Edge and Buckshot Lariat. The 619 has really never been used by anybody else other than Rey Mysterio, except Dom. Dom's obviously used it, but you know, that's his son, so he can kind of use it. But if we're just counting solely the 619 and not the additional West Coast pop afterwards, you know, as I said earlier, it's a combo of moves, I'd probably have to go with the 619 anyway. The build up to it, whenever Rey kicks somebody into the ropes or somebody falls into the ropes during a Royal Rumble, if Rey is there, you know what's about to happen, and the fans pop for it every time, whether they're at home or whether they're at the show. Claudio's Gotch Neutralizer Pile Driver versus Pete Dunne's Bitter End. Like I said about Keith Lee, Pete Dunne was hitting this thing smooth like butter, and for that, he's gonna have to move on. Claudio has a bunch of different finishers that he can use. He uses a swing, he uses a sharpshooter, he uses anything other than the Gotch Pile Driver these days to win matches. So give me the Bitter End. The People's Elbow versus Kevin Nash's Jackknife Powerbomb. The People's Elbow was made to pop the boys. The Jackknife Powerbomb looks fucking awesome when Kevin Nash does it, so give me the Jackknife Powerbomb. The Batista Bomb versus the Busaiku Knee. I can't have two Powerbombs move on again, so give me Daniel Bryan's Busaiku Knee, or Knee Plus, whatever you want to call it. Lastly, we have Jake the Snake's DDT versus Undertaker's Tombstone Pile Driver. Everything I said before still stands here. The Tombstone survived a banned era of pile drivers. Not everybody was allowed to use it unless you were having a match with The Undertaker. So give me the Tombstone Pile Driver. The One-Winged Angel versus the Razor's Edge. Two moves that are synonymous with the guys that used them. Whenever somebody uses the One-Winged Angel or a variant of it, they honestly always think of Kenny Omega. I know there are people that have used a similar variant move before, but Kenny has solidified it as his finisher, and honestly should be paid royalties every time someone uses it. Same thing could be said for every time Damian Priest does the Razor's Edge. I get it that Scott Hall / Razor Ramon was one of your favorites growing up. Come on, man. You already used the Crossroads. Like, do something. Come up with some move that is yours. Not trying to diss on Damien at all. It's just, you know, kind of annoying. So for that, give me the One-Winged Angel. The Big Bang Catastrophe versus the 619. This is honestly where I kind of find it a little difficult. I do like both moves a lot. I think the setup for the 619 is fun and is always natural feeling, whether it seems more scripted than it needs to be. And then the Big Bang Catastrophe can literally come out of nowhere. Just like the 619, the setup for it doesn't really have to do anything crazy to get there, but when it gets there, oh boy, does it get there. So go ahead and, you know, flock to the comments and get mad for this one, but I'm having the Big Bang Catastrophe move on. The Bitter End versus the Jackknife Powerbomb. This one's easy. I love the Jackknife. I don't think you guys understand how much I love the Jackknife Powerbomb, okay? I really think that Kevin Nash, like, especially if he didn't like a guy, like, at least in TNA, he was putting some meat, putting some stank on those jackknives. Busaiku Knee versus Tombstone Pile Driver. I don't know. I mean, part of me is like, yeah, Bryan shouldn't move on that far. The Busaiku Knee doesn't really win matches. Didn't a lot in WWE. He tapped a lot of people out with the yes lock or no lock or label lock, whatever you call it. But, like, again, Tombstone survived a banned era. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say that this video, but the pile driver was banned in WWE. My cat has made an appearance. Thank you, Clementine. Clementine says that the Tombstone pile driver should move on. One-Winged Angel versus the Big Bang Catastrophe. I don't know. I'm gonna try and talk less about him going forward because I'm running on 23 minutes already. Give me the one-winged angel. I feel bad about that one. Jackknife Powerbomb versus Tombstone Piledriver. I don't know. Part of me wants to flip a coin for this because like I genuinely like both moves. Jackknife Powerbomb. Ooh, I don't know. People are going to be mad at me for that one. One-Winged Angel versus Jackknife Powerbomb. One-Winged Angel. Fuck it. Oh, god damn it. All right, we're on the other side of the bracket now. As you can see on my screen, we went through one side and now we're going through the other to see what is going to take on the One-Winged Angel in the finals. Here we have the Paradigm Shift, Dirty Deeds, Death Rider, whatever you want to call it. This is what Mox uses as his finisher versus the Stunner. Now, I like the Stunner, but only when it's hit on specific guys. Like, I like the Stunner when it's hit on someone and they crumple over rather than popping up the way Austin Theory is in this photo on the screen. Meanwhile, the Death Rider / Paradigm Shift / Dirty Deeds, when it's hit right and hit on the crown of your head, looks phenomenal. No pun intended to AJ Styles. But yeah, I mean, it's the Paradigm Shift all day. The Curb Stomp versus Big Show's KO Punch. The Curb Stomp. Aleister Black's Black Mass versus Dolph Ziggler's Zigzag. So the way the Zigzag could literally be hit out of nowhere, or whenever Dolph would go for it too close to the ropes and someone would grab onto the ropes, I always liked that. But the same thing could be said about how the Black Mass can be hit out of nowhere. So with all that, I'm gonna have to go with the Black Mass here. I like it. I like the rotation and the spin that Aleister puts on it, the meat and the stank that he puts on it as well, especially in the more hard-hitting matches, can be very fun. Ooh, this one's tough. The RKO from Randy Orton versus the lumbar check from Cedric Alexander. Now, for anyone who didn't watch 205 Live back in the day, the lumbar check was one of the most feared moves on that show. Meanwhile, the RKO is a meme. Give me the RKO. Sorry, Cedric. Next up, we have Christian Cage's Kill Switch, or the Unprettier, versus Finn Balor's 1916, or as it was originally called, the Bloody Sunday. Now, first of all, great name. Love both names. The 1916 is in reference to the Great Famine in Ireland, and then Bloody Sunday is some other Ireland lore. But I stand by the fact that Christian Cage and the Unprettier, or Kill Switch, is one of the best finishers in forever. Give me the Unprettier. The End of Days versus Kevin Owens' pop-up powerbomb. I'm gonna have to easily pick the End of Days here. I love this move. I wish Baron Corbin was still around. Like, I know he's still around, but like, I wish he was still in WWE so I could see this move more often, because god damn was it fucking good. Bray Wyatt's Sister Abigail versus Andrade's Hammerlock DDT. I'm gonna have to go with Sister Abigail here. I mean, it's iconic. The kiss on the forehead, the build up to it, the setup is just great. The Hammerlock DDT, at the end of the day, it's just a DDT variant. The Codebreaker versus the Fairy Tale Ending. Is this one even fair? Because the Fairy Tale Ending is a good finisher, but like, Ciampa doesn't get to hit it that much. But we're not basing it off that. We're basing it off of, like, I guess my favorite. And I prefer the Fairy Tale Ending. Okay, wrestling logic. Why would a regular backdrop hurt you, but then when you go and do the Codebreaker and you have someone's jaw hit your knees and then your back hits the plywood, why would you not also be hurt, right? The Sweet Chin Music versus the Attitude Adjustment. This one is really unfair. Good lord, this other side of the bracket is stacked. I'm sorry, Shawn Michaels. It's the Attitude Adjustment. I love me some John Cena. Oh, sorry. Dijak's GTH versus, or Feast Your Eyes, sorry. Called it what Sammy Guevara called it. Versus Sheamus's Brogue Kick. I'm so glad they put Sheamus's Brogue Kick on here so I could vote it out in the first round. Love the Feast Your Eyes. Love Dijak. Roman Reigns' Spear versus Adam Cole's Shining Wizard. I forget what they called it back in the day. The Boom? Roman Reigns' Spear is not as bad as Jey Uso's, but not as good as Rhino's. Honestly, one day I'll probably have to rank spears. I feel like that might be fun to do. Comment down below if you want me to rank different wrestling versions of the spear. But with that being said, I'm gonna have to go with Adam Cole's secondary finisher. I mean, yes, he uses the Panama Sunrise, but he didn't use it a lot later on in his career, especially in NXT and in AEW. So, still, good finisher. Not as good as his other one, but better than Roman's spear, because Roman, I think, has a much more iconic finisher than the spear, which is the Superman punch. I truly believe that the Superman punch, the cocking of the fist from Roman and everything, just became something that he had to do, still does to this day. The Last Ride Powerbomb versus the Skull Crushing Finale. Fuck the Skull Crushing Finale, that dumb move. Give me the Last Ride. Samoa Joe's Muscle Buster versus his F5. I don't want to talk about him, but I do like the F5. It was a good finisher. Made better by Brian Cage when he did the extra rotation, so he made it the F10. But yeah, the Muscle Buster is so badass that WWE and even NXT had to ban it, and he could only use the Coquina Clutch. It's the Muscle Buster all day. The Crossroads versus the Leg Drop. The Leg Drop is iconic, and honestly, I feel like it's really only iconic from the one image that I'm looking at right now. Meanwhile, the Crossroads has been with Cody forever. He's used the Crossroads literally his entire career. Talk about consistency. Give me Cody Rhodes and the Crossroads. The Angle Slam versus the Pedigree. And I feel like this dichotomy shows exactly why I would have to pick the Angle Slam, because Kurt was able to hit that on anybody. Yes, the guys were jumping with him and everything, you know, but that's how wrestling works, so whatever. But the Angle Slam, Olympic Slam, whatever you want to call it, great move, iconic move. Chad Gable uses it whenever he's actually on TV. He hasn't been back in a while. Jason Jordan used it when he was Kurt Angle's son for that one gimmick. So it's a great move. Love that move. The Claymore versus the Haluva Kick. I think a lot of people know the backstory of the Claymore. It was created on accident because Drew, back in the 3MB days, was wearing tight leather pants, went for a big boot, and ended up like slipping and only getting one leg up. So by accident, probably one of the best moves ever. But the Haluva Kick, and I'm not going to call it its original name in Ring of Honor, but the Haluva Kick, I think, takes the edge here over the Claymore. I know, don't boo me, come on. The Claymore, I don't know, I always was a bigger fan of the Future Shock. As crazy as it sounds, I love the way he would like cock his shit back with the Future Shock DDT. So yeah, give me the Haluva Kick. Battle of the Shield Brethren. We have the Death Rider versus the Curb Stomp. Both moves very impactful by both guys. Both moves iconic with both guys. But I'm going to have to give the edge here to the Death Rider for all the same reasons I said before. Not saying the Curb Stomp is a bad move, just compared to Mox's finisher, there are levels to this. The RKO versus Black Mass. The Black Mass is great, and the RKO may be a meme, but it's a meme for a good reason, because it can literally be hit out of nowhere, and that's what's the beauty of the move. That's what's so fun about the move. So yeah, RKO's moving on again. The End of Days versus the Unprettier / Kill Switch. I said all that stuff about Christian, but goddamn, the End of Days is so good. And like, when someone fully rotates out of the End of Days and then hits one of their finishers or something like that, not only is it a good finisher, but it's a good sequence move as well. And that's honestly what you want out of your finishers, is it can be easily reversed into something else to add intrigue to a match. So yeah, End of Days all the way. Next up, we have the Sister Abigail versus the Fairy Tale ending. Like I said before, and like I just said with the Kill Switch and the End of Days, I'm gonna have to give the edge here to Sister Abigail. It's a move that can not only be used as a solid finisher, but someone could easily like flip out of it, you know, like as Bray wraps him back for it, they could have gotten out of it. Or Uncle Howdy does it now as well. Like, you know, they kind of reverse it, they get out of it. I feel like that makes sense. I feel like you guys can visualize what I'm talking about. I don't need to explain it any further. Give me the Sister Abigail. The Attitude Adjustment versus Feast Your Eyes. Sorry, Dijak, you're cool, but John Cena's cooler. Give me the Attitude Adjustment. Here comes the Boom by Adam Cole versus the Last Ride Powerbomb. And if you saw that other bracket side, you're gonna understand that I'm taking the Last Ride here. The Crossroads versus the Muscle Buster. Cody, you may have been using this move forever, but Joe's been using his longer. Give me the Muscle Buster. The Angle Slam, Olympic Slam versus the Haluva Kick. What did I say? What did I say before about everything with the Angle Slam? And honestly, what have I said with the End of Days? What have I said with the Kill Switch? It's a move that also is a good sequence move. because Angle could hit this and then immediately jump into an ankle lock. Beautiful. Love it. Give me the Angle Slam. Sorry, Sammy. Death Rider versus RKO. I don't know. Man, I don't know. You know what we're gonna do? Hold on, let me get something. I have a dime right here, as you can see. We're gonna flip a coin, because I'm genuinely torn here. So, heads, it's the Death Rider. Tails, it's the RKO. It fell on the floor. It's the Death Rider! Woo, 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 woo. Mox FC, rise up! End of Days versus Sister Abigail. Like I said with the Sister Abigail and End of Days, they're good sequence moves. They can be used as a finisher or they can be used as a transitional move. End of Days all the way though. The Last Ride versus the Attitude Adjustment. I had the Tombstone move on for so long, but I can only have the Last Ride move on not as long because it was a secondary finisher for Undertaker for a long time. Give me the Attitude Adjustment. The Muscle Buster versus the Angle Slam. Here we are with Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe meeting for the first time ever on Nacho Wrestling. I really fucking love the Muscle Buster. I can't stress to you guys how much I love the Muscle Buster. The Death Rider versus End of Days. Again, we're probably gonna have to do this for most of Mox's because I really do like both moves. We're gonna flip a coin again. The dime is back. You guys aren't gonna believe this. It fell again. Heads. Heads. I'll prove it. Look. You see that? You see that? You can feel the mana and you can see the head. Pause. Attitude Adjustment versus Muscle Buster. I think purely based off of impact on the move, Cena could hit this from the top rope and people would still kick out. The Muscle Buster, though, not a lot of people kick out of that one. Give me the Muscle Buster. Sorry, John. Hope you're enjoying retirement. The Death Rider versus the Muscle Buster. Here we are, part 3 with the dime. Because I have to. For this one, I have to, okay? And I promise for the finals, it will not be based on a coin flip because I will genuinely try to decipher which one I prefer. Here we go. Hey, it didn't fall that time. It's the fucking Death Rider. God damn it. I swear. Look, okay. No edits. It's a head. I literally... See how I pick it up? Like, it's heads. Here we are at the final. The One-Winged Angel, Kenny Omega, versus the Death Rider, Jon Moxley. Okay, I promised I wasn't gonna flip a coin, but part of me wants to pick up the dime and flip it. For shits and giggles, let's do it, okay? Let's just see. Obviously, I will pick a legitimate winner, but ball don't lie. If it's heads again, I'm gonna think this is a weighted coin. It's tails! Mox, you can't win shit! You can't win the big one! You always choke! Yeah, that's fair though. I was gonna pick the One-Winged Angel anyway. I really think that move is just so synonymous with Kenny at this point. Yes, the Paradigm Shift, Death Rider, Dirty Deeds, whatever. Great move. Mox is awesome with it. But the One-Winged Angel is literally, like, it gets a pop every time somebody hits it. And when somebody else uses it, it gets just as big of a pop. Give me the One-Winged Angel. Well, there we have it. There's pretty much the entire bracket in front of you. You can see what moved on and what didn't. And you can see that Kenny Omega's One-Winged Angel is my favorite finisher, what I determined to be the best finisher in wrestling today. And we may only be seeing it for a short more period of time, seeing as Kenny is probably going to be wrapping it up soon. Wow, the raw footage here is 45 minutes, so I don't know what I'm going to edit this down to. Probably going to cut a lot of stuff out, but yeah. Let me know what you guys thought about this down in the comments below. If you want to do this bracket and figure out what your favorite finisher is, I will have the link for it as well in the description. With that being said, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to stay up to date on all things Nacho Wrestling, and I will see you guys next time.